feel like I gotta do this video in a 4x3 in black and white again. Well, that was a movie. Hello, welcome back to Simon's Rants. I'm Simon, and welcome back. I've been gone for a little bit, and I'm returning now with my first thoughts on the tragedy of Macbeth, which is the first solo film by writer-director Joel Cohen, not working for the first time with his brother. And it's starring Frances McDormand, Denzel Washington, as well as a lot of other people. It's got a lot of famous cameos, actually, and it's, of course, based on the famous Shakespearean play Macbeth. So, I was excited for this, because it was Joel Cohen, because it was Denzel Washington. I'm not a big fan of Frances McDormand, but I was willing to overlook that for this movie. It's also got Harry Melling in it in a small role, which I like him a lot. And it's also got Brendan Gleeson in it, as well as Stephen Root, and they're both really good in this. So I was excited for it for a myriad of reasons, and then I didn't get to see it right away because it didn't get released anywhere near me in time to do it for my year-end reviews, and then I took a little vacation, so I didn't see it until today, and I kept seeing pictures being posted of it, little screenshots from the movie being posted on Twitter, and just marveling at the cinematography and being like, man, I need to see this artistic masterpiece. And then I watched it. I don't want to say it's a bad movie because it wasn't, but they really didn't do themselves any favors with this movie. First, I do want to talk about the cinematography. It is beautiful. It looks great. The black and white, the stark imagery, a lot of the visuals that they play with in this is just so bleak and so dark and so lovely in its creepiness. It's very fun to look at. However, the entire thing is filmed on a soundstage, like, in the olden days, and it feels very much like a soundstage. At no point did I ever believe that any of these locations were real. It all felt confined to a room. They're supposed to be in this expansive field, like this foggy area, and it's like, well, they're just walking around in a room that's covered with sand. Like, that's not real, and you can tell. And then as far as the cast is concerned, I already talked about a couple of those guys. The supporting cast is all fantastic in this. I would even say Frances McDormand exceeded my expectations. I thought she was decent. And then there's Denzel, and I am a Denzel fan. I like Denzel. It didn't work. I don't know. I was curious to see how Denzel would coexist in a Shakespearean world, how that would work together, and the short answer is it doesn't. It really doesn't, because they've got everybody speaking in Shakespearean English. They're all going for that to varying levels of success. And so with some of these side characters, these guys, like I was saying, I forgot their names already, but Stephen Root and Brendan Gleeson and to a lesser extent Harry Melling, they're all just really embracing the roles and really going for it, and it's so good because the thing with Shakespeare is you can't be ashamed of it. You can't half-ass it. And I've seen many Shakespeare plays throughout my life. There have been constant live productions around my neighborhood growing up, and I went to them constantly as a kid, and there was always attempts to try to modernize it, to make it hip, to make it just a little less Shakespearean and a little bit more modern and palatable. And every time you do that, it becomes lamer and works less. So the more you embrace the Shakespearean of it all, the more you embrace the old history of it, the better it is, because you just have to dive in full force. I know it's hard to understand. I know it's tough to memorize the lines because they sound archaic, but you just have to go into it full force and don't look back. And I think some of these actors did, and it helped a lot, and their performances were brilliant. And then there was Denzel, who was talking in the Shakespearean accent, or at least the dialect, yet maintaining the usual Denzel Washington speech patterns and accent, and God, it was hard to take seriously. It was really funny by accident. I couldn't get into it. I really couldn't, and it took me out of the movie every time he talked. And he's playing freaking Macbeth, like he's supposed to be the most important character to a certain extent, and every time he's talking, you're just like chuckling to yourself. It was hard. It really took me out of the movie every time he talked. And between that and the obvious soundstageness of it all, with every set being painfully obvious that it's a set, I couldn't get into this movie. I really couldn't. I was bored out of my mind because it didn't feel like a story. It felt like watching those countless low-quality production stage versions of it that I saw a million times as a kid. It didn't feel any better than those in any way other than the cinematography being beautiful. The cinematography is beautiful. I wouldn't be shocked if it won the Oscar for that. But, I mean, aside from those cool, creepy visuals and the camera work, there was nothing separating this from a freaking high school version of it, a high school play. It didn't feel professional. It really didn't. It felt amateurish, and that's really disappointing because there were so many really, really talented people involved, and I just was left completely unimpressed and frankly bored. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll chalk this up as the first disappointment of the year for me as far as film goes. I don't know, wasn't into it. What did you guys think, though? If you saw it, let me know what you guys thought of it. Also, don't forget to like, share, and if you're new here, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.